Good morning, team. Today is Tuesday and you are working asynchronously. What is on our agenda is there's a warm-up in Canvas. We'll take a quick look at that. We are going to finish up our organic practices and genetically modified lecture, and then I'm going to let you work on your Rube Goldberg marble run projects. What is due? The vocab, natural processes and technological processes was due. We also are going to have our vocab for the organic practices and genetically modified. Okay, take two. Welcome, everyone. You're going to be working asynchronously today. Let me go through our agenda. We've got a little warm-up on Canvas, nothing too tough. We are going to finish our organic practices and genetically modified presentation, and then just work on our Rube Goldberg marble run projects. All right, what is due is your organic practices and genetically modified vocab. That's due today. You were supposed to have your marble run assignment 1, 3 designs and your final choice ready on the 5th. I've only gotten about half of those, so if you have not finished that, you can work on that and get that in. If you have finished that, then it's time to start building your fabulous marble run. So what you're going to work on, I've got the sheet, let me just quickly show you. Get my mouse here. All right, so if you look in the written instructions, Rube Goldberg marble run, all the worksheets are down here in here. You can work on the document build process worksheet, but you're not going to turn it in until the next interim, okay? We're not going to turn this in until Friday of the next interim, okay? So what you're doing is you just need to make a list of your materials that you're using to create your marble run. And then I want a photo of your materials, and I want 2 photos or 2 videos of you actually building your marble run. I want to see your process, okay? So here's where you can put your list. You can add more numbers. Here's a photo of your materials. Here's a link for a video or a photo of you building your run, okay? All righty. So let's just actually, while I'm in here, let's go into our module and take a quick look at the warm-up. All right. Oh, that's not the warm-up. Here we go. All right, so which system of farming supports a greater diversity of products grown and improves soil at the same time? Which system of farming supports a greater diversity of products grown and improves soil at the same time? Seems like a great system. Is it agribusiness or is it organic farming? All right, make your choices. Okay, make sure to do your warm-ups. I will give you points for them. You have to do them though, or you don't get points. So question 2 should be fun. In agriculture, green manure is, I read about that. Green manure is A, what raccoons get after eating blueberries. B, crops grown not for profit, but to be plowed under to improve fields. Or C, when a crop is ruined and has to be destroyed. It has gone to manure. So there's 3 choices. Is it what raccoons get after eating blueberries? Is green manure crops grown not for profit, but to be plowed under to improve fields? Or C, when a crop is ruined and has to be destroyed? Let me know your thoughts. Okay, let's get back into our lecture and see if we can get that knocked out. Hang on, we're in the wrong one. There we go. Okay. Oh, I don't need that. I want that. All right, so what our objective for today is that you will be assessing the differences between organic practices and genetically modified practices. We will continue to apply the 12-step engineering design loop to our Marble Run projects, okay? All right, genetically modified. Typically, genetic materials used in the production systems are grains, wheat, oats, barley, and corn, for example. Those are our commercial grains. Vegetable fibers, wood, flax, and cotton, for example, are thoughts of things that may be genetically modified to try and improve them. Animals or fish, meat, hides, and wool, for example. The origin of all genetic materials is in birth or germination. There are two different systems. The appearance of animal life is called birth. The appearance of plant life generally starts with germination of seeds or spores. That is where they go from an inert seed to they start to grow. Once it starts to grow, that is called germination. Okay? Young plants and animals grow rapidly early in their life cycles. Their growth generally slows down as they reach older age. This period is called maturity. That's when the growth slows down. The organism is still healthy at maturity, but it stays about the same size. The length of this maturity stage may be a matter of days, as with mushrooms, or centuries, as in the case with redwood trees. It depends on the species, right? Their genetic makeup. All organic life ends at some point, however. The plant or animal dies from old age or disease. Most genetic materials are easy to find. Trees and farm crops are on easily used plots of land. Domesticated animals and fish are typically raised on fish farms or contained in specific locations. Only those who fish commercially must seek genetic resources that are sometimes hard to find. You have to find the fish before you can find them before you can catch them when you're in the ocean. Okay, so here is a double, this looks like a trawler. They pull those nets behind them. The major challenge for people dealing with genetic resources is to harvest the plant or animal at the proper stage of growth. This stage will vary with the growth cycle and growing habits of organisms. Improvements have been made in animals and plants over hundreds of years. For example, a farmer wants to increase his yield of tomatoes. The farmer would crossbreed plants with the highest yield with another variety of the same species that had a resistance to a particular problem, such as drought. So they're trying to improve their plant stock through normal breeding, trying to breed their highest producer with a plant that has a specific trait like drought tolerance to give you a high producing drought tolerant plant. Okay. Ooh, would you eat this? I don't think so. Look at that poor cow on the left. I don't know what they've done to him, but his muscles are so enormous. You know, it's probably about making meat. Today, hardier plants and animals are possible in a single generation through genetic engineering. Okay? They don't really inject tomatoes. This method, however, takes generations to produce results, and there is no guarantee of success. This is regular genetic breeding, okay? You are breeding towards a goal, but there is no saying that you will actually get there. These are not examples of a food that has been genetically modified, okay? Squared apples or squared watermelons are not typically GMO traits. Cells are the basic unit of all living organisms. Inside a cell is a nucleus which contains hereditary information or genetic material of a cell. Okay, the DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. Okay, normal DNA is all paired up. Here is mutated DNA where several bonds have been broken and seem to be reforming on the inside. Okay, inside a cell is a nucleus which contains the hereditary information or genetic material. Cells are the basic units of all living things. This genetic material determines whether a person is tall or short, a cow can produce more or less milk, a plant can withstand drought. This is a strange transition. Or a plant can withstand drought. We're changing speed here. Steel and fossil fuels were the resources of the last century. Genes are the resource materials of the 21st century, where we are now. Every living thing, from the smallest beetle to the tallest oak tree, has a set of genes, which we call a genetic code. This code determines precisely what traits it will have, right? Genetically modified food, or GM foods, are foods produced from organisms that have had specific changes introduced into their DNA using the methods of genetic engineering, right? Ooh, what the? All right. There we are. Okay, corn and its ancestors. When corn started out as teosinte, it was bred and bred and bred to create this much more robust modern corn, okay? This is the female, this is the male. All right, in 1865, apparently watermelons were not as luscious. These techniques have allowed the introduction of new crop traits as well as a far greater control over a food's genetic structure than previously afforded by methods such as selective breeding and mutation breeding, trying to emphasize some new trait that has shown up in the plant. Just how big are today's chickens? Average weight of chicken breeds at 56 days old. In 1957, they were 905 grams. Wow. By 1978, they were twice as much, 1,808 grams. And in 2005, that's what, 20 more years? They are twice again, 4,202 grams. That is huge. How many eggs does a hen lay per year? In nature, about 12 eggs. In the 1900s, they had chickens up to 120 eggs a year. Now, factory farms have chickens laying about 300 eggs, it looked like, a year. Okay? Banana, before and after. Carrot, before and after. These are the precursors. These are the original species, and then what has been bred in modern day. Okay? The watermelon, before and after. Pretty cool. I don't know what that thing is. I've never heard of a precursor to a banana or the carrot. All right? Are genetically modified foods bad for you? All right? Again, they don't usually stick them all full of needles. Strands of DNA are the basic building blocks of life. The discovery of DNA opened the way for a more precise understanding of how living things work, right? Scientists and technologists started to take the basic building blocks of living creatures apart and put them back together in new and possibly improved ways. Emphasis on the possibly. In this way, thousands of these transgenic plants, animals, bacteria, and viruses could become part of Earth's ecosystems. What worries people is introducing these new things, new genes, unfettered into natural ecosystems where they can drift. Some call this the work of Frankenstein or Frankenfoods. Okay? So you're splicing a red and a yellow apple together, a pear and a lemon, Frosted Flakes, untested, unlabeled. Some call this the work of Frankenstein or Frankenfoods. It's the idea that we just aren't totally sure of what is going to happen as a result of modifying genes. Transgenic engineering refers to plants and other organisms that have been changed by adding genetic material from another species. Okay? So this is adding an animal gene into a plant. This is usually done to increase a plant's resistance to disease or to increase its productivity. Transgenic crops have been genetically engineered. For example, do a quick search on the internet for EnviroPig, trademark, to get an example of transgenic engineering of this animal. Manure from normal pigs can pollute rivers and lakes because of its high phosphorus content. Nitrogen and phosphorus are very critical to water pollution. Phosphorus increases the amount of algae in water. Okay, if you feed our EnviroPig, I don't know what that word is. Feed corn, barley, soy contains indigestible PHVTATES. Phytates. It's cut off. So phytase, the enzyme to break down phytates, is secreted in our fabulous EnviroPig's mouth. This causes excess PO4 not needed to be excreted through urine, and the feces actually have low phosphorus content. This is through bioengineering. So it is great. So algae robs fish and other organisms of oxygen. That is why reducing pig pollution is very important. Let's say out in the beautiful Damariscotta Peninsula over on the Eastern Shore, there is a lot of chicken production and pig production. This is where the EnviroPig would help save the Chesapeake Bay. Using genes from other organisms, the EnviroPig processes feed more efficiently. This reduces phosphorus in its manure, and the water supplies are protected as a result. A second example is genetically enhanced super rice being used in China. The project involves speeding up the growth of existing hybrid rice by inserting a gene from the corn plant to make it much more robust. Okay, so tall conventional plant, improved high yielding plant, and low tillering ibiotype, new plant type. A certain gene from the wing bean is also added to the rice through transgenic engineering in order to improve resistance to stress resulting from severe weather conditions. Transgenic crops are also known as genetically modified crops, or GMC, genetically modified crop. Transgenic engineered crops or genetically modified crops are increasingly popular in Argentina, Canada, China, Mexico, and the United States, where over half the crops, such as soybean, corn, and canola, are GMC. It's not really an apple with an orange inside. Okay, ooh, look, there's our friend annoying orange. Herbicide-resistant crops and insect-resistant transgenic crops are also popular worldwide. So the herbicide-resistant ones are the idea that they just coat the fields in herbicide. It won't kill the plants, but it will kill all the other weeds in there. It's not the best system. Within the near future, we may see vitamin-enhanced fruits and vegetables, allergen-free nuts, low-calorie bread, genetically decaffeinated coffee, and vaccine-enriched bananas. These products will be introduced with some controversy. However, one of the best arguments for the development and use of biotech crops is that they will reduce the amount of insecticides used. I am unconvinced of that. Fewer insecticides mean less wasted time and energy in spraying, less risk of exposure to people, and less fuel use. That is one aspect. There is concern about who controls the industries responsible for new biotechnologies. The top 10 agrochemical companies control over 80% of the global market. This affects costs. Genetically modified seeds are more expensive than that standard seeds, and they don't just grow. You can't harvest your own seeds. You have to buy them from Monsanto or Bayer. Bayer bought Monsanto, so that is one of the big ones. Often the places that need the genetically altered seeds most are the ones that cannot afford them. With such changes taking place, it is natural that many people have concerns. People know that GMC, genetically modified crops, could migrate to another area where there is little control over them. People are also questioning whether it is a good idea to reprogram the genetic codes of life and artificially create new life forms. It's not so much as that, it's releasing them into the wild. These pollens drift. These genetic mutations are being taken up by organic plants through pollination. The potential for misuse of this information should compel society to establish ethical mandates for regulating the incidence of testing and the use of test results. As a minimum, people would like to know that GMC are labeled so they have a choice. I don't like genetically modified crops, so yes, if it was labeled, I would not choose them. I just worry about them. Labeling of food would help prevent allergic reactions, respect personal values and religious dietary requirements, address concerns about environmental practices. Okay, well, it's like McDonald's French fries has 17 ingredients. Okay, let's go through the summary. The modern age of biotechnology started in 1953 when James Watson and Francis Crick announced the discovery of the structure DNA, which stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. An important property of DNA is that it can replicate or make copies of itself. The DNA molecule consists of two strands coiled around each other called a double helix. You twist it, right? Two edges. Once you twist it, you start to get that helix pattern. DNA is composed of the following three parts: phosphate, a sugar called deoxyribose, and four compounds called bases. The bases are adenine, guanine, thymine, and cytosine. Cells are the basic units of all living organisms. Harvesting is gathering genetic materials, living materials from the earth or bodies of water at the proper stage of their life cycle, when they are mature and ready for harvest. Genetic materials are obtained through three activities: farming, fishing, and forestry. Genetic or biological material is a classification of natural resources that includes all substances that are developed by plants or animals. Okay? Woohoo! We are done. All right. So let me go back into my module. Hang on, we are still here. So you are either still working on developing your assignment 1, your 3 examples of a marble run and which one you've decided to go with, or you can be working on your Rube Goldberg assignment 2. I had to change the date on this because of the interim. So this does not have a submit. What I've created for us is just a link to a worksheet for assignment 2, document the build. So if you go in here, you can work on your worksheet, and then we will submit that worksheet once we're in the next interim, once we're past the 12th, all right? So that's it for today. You guys are just gonna keep working on your projects, okay? You'll be working on your Marble Run project, trying to design, figure out your design, think of cool ways to create a diversion, or you will be documenting your materials and documenting you building your project, okay? That's what this is. When you look in here, you're just gonna get the worksheet, does not have a submit. You're gonna make a list of what materials you have, take a picture of them, Ideally, you're going to make 2 videos. And if you can't do a video, just take photos, 2 photos or videos of you building your run. That is it. I am working away on my own asynchronous work. Have a great day, team. You need to leave when your class is over. Okay. Thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing your work. Bye.